how a psychological operation works. Okay? So we're going to tap in with how a psyop really works. Okay? Let's do this. So I've done a YouTube short or two, as well as a long format video on mentioning psyops, also known as psychological operations. Okay? If you don't know a baseline or an introductory level understanding of a psyop, just quickly Google it or look at my last video, okay, and come back here, okay? Because this video will allow you to better understand how a psyop actually works on us time and time again, okay? So, how can they actually be effective against people who are actually fairly intellectual, a lot of us, and it still works. It even works on me, and I'm one who calls it out all the time. And every once in a while, I get sucked into it, and then I have to go, oh my God, and delete something that I said, something stupid, that it got me hook, line, and sinker. You know what I mean? So imagine if I didn't know about this stuff. I'd be really screwed like I used to be, okay? And my goal here is to pull people out, So that's it. So how do they trick millions of Americans who most of are actually quite intelligent? Well, it's like a spell. If you know all about it and how it works, it becomes ineffective against you. Whoever owns, runs, and controls the media currently knows that most of us are good people. In fact, they are betting on the fact that we are good people. Here's how they get you. They explain a story to us. Then there's a narrative around the story. In fact, there are two. Now, they could add three, four, several. It tends to get confusing and they lose people. And their goal is, remember, the hypothetical goal for entertainment purposes only goal, that is two narratives. They want to just split us. If it was 50-50, even better. But, it tends to be like 70-30 or 50-50 and anywhere in between. Because if they put something out and 90% of us are going to feel one way and only 10% feel the other, that's a failed psyop for them. They haven't divided us quite the way they want to, okay? Because that's not very effective. It only separates 10% from the rest of the herd. No. They want it as close to 50-50 as they can, my friend, okay? Anyways, they would paint, there's a story. The story is real. It's not a lie. It really does happen, okay? So they take a real story because it's easier to work with. They take a real story and then they hit you with narrative number one and narrative number two. Quickly, they assume that you will, and you usually do, pick a side. You choose one side over the other, whether it's your heart feels more towards this or your brain thinks more towards something else, okay? And this is how they get you, is you end up choosing one subconsciously, automatically, or effortlessly. But then you look and you start seeing more stuff online that actually backs up your belief in your claim. And then you go, oh yeah, so I'm definitely right. And that means the other side is definitely wrong. And that's how they trick you to think you're always the good guy and everybody else is always the bad guy, when there's good and bad on both sides, but they have you tricked. Not anymore. Okay, ready for this? So, narrative number one tells your heart and brain that this is the right side to be on, and that narrative number two is wrong and bad. Okay, narrative two does the same exact thing about narrative number one. This is how they get us. Okay, they sell us two different opinions, both making us think that we are correct and good, and that the other side by default is incorrect and bad. Okay, then we argue with those around us and those online, which gets more people morally motivated to choose one side and hate the other side. They present a topic, a story, if you will. They get you mentally or emotionally involved. Okay, that's what they mean. We're winning hearts and minds. Yeah, you are, buddy. Okay, they then present two options, just two usually. It's easier and faster for all of our minds to just choose one out of two options. The perceived importance and urgency of these topics tend to make people rush to choosing one side or another before looking at all the facts, letting it marinate, and then making the decision, okay? This assures that most of us who are making these instant decisions are emotionally charged. We are usually deriving our stand on a topic from our emotions. Oh, I saw a thing of somebody hold ICE down, and some ICE officers held somebody down who didn't deserve it. So screw ICE, and we should dox and kill them all. Like, you guys are crazy for saying and thinking stuff like that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And anyways, this leads many of us to automatically double down on our choices and think that it's actually okay. Okay? We look to various examples that support our claims and find them all too easily. Okay? The other side does the same. This pushes division, hatred, and lack of mutual understanding to a whole new level. Okay? But like I said previously, once you are able to consistently spot a psyop, things become much more peaceful in your life. That's because the media isn't pulling you in every which direction and you don't know left from right anymore. You know, it's great to get away from it. That's another thing that they proverbially rob you of, your peace. Okay? Knowing that many others have chosen the opposite opinion of yours makes it so that you hate nearly half of society. Oh, that's another thing, is they tend to implement a two-way split that is going to be 70% to 30% or up to 50-50, like I mentioned before. Okay? They want mass division. If 90% of people love dogs and 10% say they hate dogs, maybe it's a religious thing, okay, then that's not good enough for these sickos. Because, like I said, that's only a 90-10 split. No, they want real division, and they want to do it to the masses, and they want to do it from even just one event, adding to it exponentially. So that way they're not having to do a million events every 3 weeks. They can only do like one every week, one every month, and it works, and it changes. And these people pride themselves in such things, okay? But it's my job to reset, to balance things out, you know? So Satan is the author of all confusion. We know who these people serve because you shall know them by their fruits. What that means is you shall know a person by their actions. Don't judge them on what they say. They can say, I'm a happy-go-lucky person who loves life and I help everybody, and really they're miserable and they hurt people. You know what I mean? You got to judge people on what you see them actually physically doing, okay? Because that is a reflection of who they are and their character. One thing, if they slip up once, do not just automatically say, oh, they're the worst person on earth. You know, well, it depends on what the once is. But you know what I'm saying. Anyways, let's get back into this, okay? Like I said, ye shall know them by their fruits. They are constantly causing mass cognitive dissonance, which can be comparable to that of confusion. For me, it boils down to two teams, true good versus true evil. That's it. Okay, there's no left versus right, cis versus trans. There's none of that. I don't care about that. I don't. I'm past that. And many of you are too. And many of you who aren't yet should be too. Okay? But anyways, true evil is dividing true good right now. So the true evil is dividing true good so that they can beat us. I am true good exposing a true evil so that other true goods can reunite and overthrow true evil in my lifetime. I want this to come to pass before it's all said and done. That is the goal. That is the goal of me talking about things like this. If you, oh, why is he so obsessed with the elites, or whoever's running the media? I don't know. Maybe because all the chaos and stuff you see around you can stem back to them and these psychological operations. Maybe that's why, a big portion of it, anyways. But it's important. It's important to plant these seeds so that people learn. Know thy enemy, okay? If you can handle it, then yeah, if you can handle the truth, you can handle the truth. That's what they meant. Some people can't. Some people, many of us can, though, and we will and we should. And this is a good thing. Thanks so much for stopping by. Until next time, stay safe, be blessed, and live lavishly. I'm going to see all of you in the next long format video that I post, which will be tomorrow because I do one every day. Thanks so much for stopping by. It means the world to me. Feel free to leave a like or comment, share, and subscribe. It would mean the world. Thanks so much for all that you do, and keep on trucking. Never give up. You know, we got this. Until then, just know that I love you all. Peace.